It's 5:30 p.m. on Tuesday, September the 19th, 2023. I call this regular meeting of the Kingsville Independent School District to order. We'll have roll call. Joe Morales. Here. Martine Chapa. Here. David Garcia. Here. Joseph Ruiz. Here. James Glusing. Here. Delma Salinas. Here. Brian Kufal is here. Let the record show there is a quorum of board members present, and that this meeting has been posted in accordance with Government Code Chapter 551, the State of Texas Open Meetings Act. We move now to the moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee. Texas is one state under God, one and indivisible.
All right, this meeting is being live video streamed. We move now to item number 4, which is the adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda? Motion made by Ms. Salinas. Second. Seconded by Mr. Ruiz. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries 7-0. Item number 5, public participation. Ms. Pettis, do we have anyone that wishes to address the board?
Yes, sir. We have two, Samantha and Devin, and cannot addressing the topic is cheer.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the next item on our agenda is the public comment period. This is the time for citizens, staff, or students to provide their comments to the board. Statements and questions for the audience will not be permitted during other portions of the meeting. To have your comments heard during public comment, your name and the subject matter of your comments must have been written on the sign-in sheet prior to the start of the meeting, which is located in the front of the room. Each speaker will be limited to 5 minutes to complete his or her comments. As a presiding officer, I and the attorney will be enforcing that time limit. All comments should address a matter related to Kingsville Public Schools. The school board will not hear public comment that involves a complaint about an individual staff member, a personnel action, a student disciplinary action, a complaint about an individual student, or pending litigation. In the event your comment, in the judgment of the presiding officer or legal counsel, constitutes a complaint against an employee or officer, the presiding officer will interrupt you and ask you to stop and direct you to proceed with the district's formal grievance procedures, DGBA, FNG, or GF local. The board expects that each speaker will be courteous, modeling for our students how one can respectfully disagree with others' views. Speakers will address their comments to the entire board and not to one individual board member, nor to a superintendent, nor to a staff member, nor to the audience. Speakers will not engage in personal attacks. Speakers will present their comments from the podium provided for them. With these cautions in mind, we will now be glad to hear the general comments. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Gerardo Herrera. I'm a pastor here in Kingsville. And on September 11th, my daughter went to a little football game that they had at the MOPAC. And my understanding is that y'all rent that place to those people. And there was an incident that happened that there was an inappropriate cheer that the little girls were doing. They're only 10 years old, and the cheer was inappropriate. So my daughter stood up and voiced her opinion and said, "I will not stand for this. This is not right," you know. So she pulled her daughter aside and she addressed this situation. And she told him that she was gonna voice her opinion on Facebook, okay? And she did it in an orderly manner. Next thing you know, they took her off the cheer team, the cheer chat. And then they let her know that she was banned from the games. The order that I came in today is, I don't know, my main thing is to come and to, as a pastor, we try to teach people that the kids are our future, okay? And it has a lot to do with how you raise them at home. And I'm very proud of the way my daughter has raised her daughter with morals, okay? And when she did the cheer, she immediately stood up and just said, she didn't do it in an ugly way. But she says, I will not stand for this. So she pulled her daughter to the side. After that, she went to go talk to another person. And then they sent her to another person. And the next thing you know, she's off the chat as the mom. Then the next thing you know, she's banned because she stood up for her rights. Today I got to talk to the man that's in head, Kevin. And to me, he was very unprofessional because immediately he wanted to hang up. He didn't even want me to address the situation. And the way I addressed it is I asked him, on what grounds are you banning my daughter from seeing her daughter? Why? They told her she couldn't go see any games here at the MOPAC. So what he basically told me was that they banned the cheer and that's it. You know, he didn't want to go into my daughter being banned because she stood up for the right thing. So, you know, I don't know if y'all can do anything about this, but I don't believe that my daughter should be banned from y'all's property because she stood up. I mean, I have the cheer here. I could show it to y'all. I don't really want to say it, but it was inappropriate. And especially for a 10-year-old. And for the people that we trust to be teaching our 10-year-olds something like that, in the sense of the cheer, it's unsportsmanlike also, you know. So this is my main complaint, you know, as a father, as a grandfather, as a person from our community that deals with a lot of disorder and a lot of people ministering to them and trying to help them get their families in order. I don't think that it was just what they did. And this was the first place I wanted to go. Next place, I'll go to the police to see if they can do anything to stop her from going because she didn't do nothing wrong. I mean, she hasn't violated any of the things. She just told them she was going to put it on Facebook and they didn't like it. So that's what I came for, you know, and thank you for your time. My main thing is they try to brush it off real easy and just say the chair's banned. Okay, so if it's banned, how come she's not reinstated? She didn't have nothing to do with the chair that y'all taught her, but she's banned because she stood up and said that's inappropriate. So my main thing is I just wanted to come and I wanted to bring awareness to this, okay? Because our kids are our future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have a second speaker? All right. We'll move on then to item number 6, which is communication from administration. Item 6A is the budget recap report and check register for August 2023. This can be found on pages 3 through 8 of our packet. Dr. Pitts.
Thank you, Mr. Kufal. Smaller. Minimize. Thank you, Mr. Kufal, Dr. Pettis, members of the board. I want to bring your attention to the third item up there in Nissan Chevrolet for $47,000. Those were for 2 used SUVs. They are currently in service, desperately needed to transport students and staff. Other future transportation vehicle items are, one, we're looking at a diesel truck to pull the band trailer. Currently, the gas trucks are having trouble pulling the band trailer. And we're looking at diesel truck. That'll also be under 50,000. There is a purchase over 50,000 in the future that we will be bringing to the board. That is for a 15-passenger van. We have not been able to find any 12-passenger vans, but probably in the next board meeting, we will be bringing to the board for approval a 15-passenger van. That one will be over $50,000. I'll take any other questions that you have on the check register.
Dr. Pitts on, Hamlin, is that quarterly or?
That's monthly. That's for the month of June. They usually run 2 months behind. So in August, we pay for June. In September, we will be paying them for the month of July. You're welcome.
In response to, just for the board's knowledge, in response to some questions that I've had from some board members, I'm going to give it Dr. Pitts, and we're going to prepare a summary report on legal services that kind of reviews all of that here, catching everyone's attention. So we should have that within the next month.
Is that an average?
It's been increasing. It's been an average for the last several months, but it used to be anywhere from 10 to 15,000, maybe 6-7 months ago, and even in previous years it was even less than that. But it just seems that like legal fees are constantly rising. Well, the fee percentage, it used to be $175 per hour. Now it's $225 per hour, but the amount of hours that they are being used for has increased.
Any other questions or comments regarding the check register? If not, thank you, Dr. Pitts. We will move on to item number 7, new business. By common consent, the board agrees to consider as one action item the following, which can be found on page 9 to 11, approval of special board meeting minutes of August 29, 2023. Do I hear a motion to approve those minutes? Move. Motion made by Mr. Morales. Seconded by Ms. Salinas. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any objection? Motion carries 7-0. Item 7B, discussion and possible action regarding School Bus Safety Week proclamation, which is found on page 12 to 13 of our packet. Mr. Dobbin.
Thank you, Mr. Koopal, Dr. Pettis, members of the board. I am here to talk about answer any questions regarding the School Bus Safety Week, which will be October 16th through the 20th. And we have a proclamation in front of you. And I'm ready to read it unless anybody has any questions.
You're going to read it?
I can.
Please.
Awesome. Kingsville Independent School District School Bus Safety Week, October 16th through the 20th, 2023. Whereas the Kingsville Independent School District recognizes that the importance of protecting the safety of Kingsville school children extends beyond the classroom walls and the school building. And whereas the board has great respect for the accomplishments of Kingsville school bus drivers, mechanics, supervisors, and all school transportation personnel in providing the safest transportation possible for children to and from school and home. And whereas each day the Kingsville school bus drivers transport more than 1,800 students traveling over 100,000 miles annually. And whereas coordinating the countless routes over so many miles and supervising the dozens of students on each vehicle requires an outstanding effort put forth by numerous exemplary professionals who have devoted their careers to transporting our children safely. And whereas the board continues to recognize and to take great pleasure in commending the men and women who accept and meet the challenge of school transportation. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the week of October 16th through the 20th, 2023 be designated as Kingsville Independent School District School Bus Safety Week. And be it further resolved that this week be devoted to the recognition of everyone who contributes to the successful operation of our state's school buses. And it finally be resolved that this special week serve as a fitting time to urge all Kingsville drivers to become more aware of school bus safety regulations. And we encourage all citizens to be alert and drive carefully near school buses.
All right, board, we've had the resolution presented to us in our packet previously, and you've heard Mr. Dotto read it to us. Is there a motion to approve the proclamation regarding school bus safety? I move that we approve the proclamations for that. Motion made by Mr. Glusing. Seconded by Mr. Chapa. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Mr. Donovan. Item 7C, discussion and possible action regarding Coastal Bend College CBC dual enrollment memorandum of understanding for the 2023-2024 school year. This can be found on pages 14 through 60 of our packet. Dr. Sandoval.
Thank you, Mr. Kufo, Dr. Pettis, Board of Trustees. I'm here before you today to present you the dual enrollment MOU between Coastal Bend College and Kingsville Independent School District for the 2023-2024 school year. This current MOU is the same as last year's MOU, but we are in the process of negotiating with CBC. They are going to be giving us the option of that fast track program where the tuition be paid for free for our students that are taking the courses there at CBC. So this current MOU does not include that at this time, but when that gets finalized by their president and their board trustees there with the region, they'll go ahead and send it to us and we'll make a revision at that time and present it to the board. So the administration recommends that the Board of Trustees approve the MOU between Coastal Bend College and Kingsville Independent School District. I'll answer any questions you have at this time.
All right, board, we've had the memorandum of understanding presented to us, and you've heard the recommendation by administration. Is there a motion to approve the MOU? Motion made by Mr. Ruiz. Seconded by Mr. Chapa. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries 7-0. Item 7D, discussion and possible action regarding MOU with Coastal Bend Food Bank Backpack Program for the 2023-2024 school year. This can be found on page 61 to 63 of our packet. Dr. Sandoval.
Thank you, Mr. Kufo. The board, the Coastal Bend Food Bank and Care Academy are partnering to make the food bank's backpack program available to children attend there at Care. Last year, we started this right around January, February, and we continue, but we've got to continue the contract. So we're bringing it to you today to extend this opportunity to our kids. Ms. Moreno does provide the backpacks, to these students on a weekly basis, and is able to fill them, and the students do take advantage of the opportunity afforded to them with this program. So the administration recommends that we approve the backpack program through the Coastal Bend Food Bank and Care for the 23-24 school year.
Any specific questions to Dr. Sandoval? If I read this correctly, the cost is covered 100% by grant. Is that correct?
That is correct. There's no charge to us in the district.
All right, you've seen the MOU. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Chapa. Seconded by Ms. Salinas. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries 7-0. And thank y'all for the work that you've done with this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 7E, discussion and possible action regarding the resolution for extracurricular status of 4-H organization in Claiborne, Kennedy County adjunct faculty agreement. This can be found on page 64 to 72 of our packet. Dr. Sandoval.
Thank you, Mr. Kufal, Board of Trustees, Dr. Pettis. The State Board of Education now allows public schools students to be considered in attendance when participating in off-campus activities with an adjunct staff member of the school district. This amendment provides local school boards the opportunity to recognize county agents as adjunct staff members and to recognize county students' participation in 4-H extension education activities and as in attendance for foundation program purposes. Extension agent for Claiborne County or Claiborne-Kennedy County have requested that the Kingsville Independent School District recognize the extension agents of Claiborne County as adjunct faculty and recognize currently enrolled 4-H members as approved for recognition and eligible for extracurricular status consideration. The administration recommends that the Board of Trustees approve the resolution granting the Claiborne-Kennedy County 4-H program extracurricular status for the 23-24 school year. And they do have two staff members again that are adjunct professors or adjunct staff for the Ag Life Extension Office. Any questions?
And you mentioned adjunct, are they like college professors, or what do you mean by adjunct?
They basically serve in the capacity of professors like our teachers, and they're an extension of Kingsville ISD. Are they true professors? Or I don't think that's the case, Mr. Reese, but they serve as adjunct in the sense of the term that they're filling in the shoes of a teacher. That is, if they were with a KISD employee at a livestock show, state fair, things of that sort, they would fall under that criteria of a KISD employee.
So they don't necessarily have any credential, they may be experts in their field, in the ag extension. So we're considering them as an adjunct. So they're just experts in their particular field, right?
Here's the way I understand this, and it's going on for years and years, and I didn't get it in the beginning. In order for our kids to participate in a county livestock show or even any of the other county livestock shows, they have to be a member of either FFA or 4-H. And FFA is a subchapter kind of our district. Our employee is the head of FFA. 4-H, not. And so for it to be recognized as legitimate extracurricular activity, we have to kind of have a stand-in faculty member in charge of that. And that's what this is done for every year, so that any 4-H members would be able to participate in our and other livestock shows.
Mr. Reese, Franco Escobar is an EDD, he's a doctor, so we just have credentials. Lopez has a bachelor's.
Any further discussion? If not, you've heard the resolution. Is there a motion to approve?
To approve the motion, Brett.
Motion made by Mr. Galusing. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Garcia. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Any opposition? Motion carries 7-0. Item number 7F, discussion and possible action regarding project management firm for H.M. King Foundation repairs. This can be found on page 73 of our packet. Mr. Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. Kufal, Dr. Pettis, members of the board. So just some background information on this action item. KISD reopened the RFQ to select a project manager for the H.M. King Foundation repairs. Before that, we opened an RFQ early in the summer and we received no submissions. So we reopened it again and we got two companies. One of them was AGCM and the other one was Fluger Company. We then got a committee together. We met, we put out the criteria to each committee member. Everybody graded it and the results are up here on the whiteboard, and the winning submission was AGCM. So we'll move forward with them with your approval and get these repairs going at HMK. I'll take any questions.
Is this the firm that presented to us at a workshop?
Yes, sir.
Are there any specific questions, Mr. Davila? If not, you've heard the presentation and the recommendation by administration that we employ the project management firm for the foundation repairs. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Morales. Seconded by Ms. Salinas. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries 7-0. Item 7G, discussion and possible action regarding the Claver County Appraisal District Board nominations. It's going to be found on page 74 to 82 of our packet. Dr. Pitts.
Thank you, Mr. Kufala. Every 2 years, we are allowed to make nominations for and cast votes for the appraisal district board. That's because we, again, are collecting taxes in the area, and based on the amount that we pay the appraisal district, we get to cast a certain number of votes. We need to make nominations by October the 15th. Then we would need to cast votes by December the 15th. So that's the timeline. You saw in your packet the criteria for serving on the appraisal board. You also saw the packet that had the requirements in there. Looking at the number of votes. Close that. So if you look at the number of votes, we have enough votes. There's 5,000 total votes, and we will be receiving 1,685 actual votes that we cast. We can nominate up to 5 different names. But when we actually get down to casting the votes at a future board meeting, we will be able to cast 1,685 votes out of a possible 1,000. In the past, we have sometimes nominated 1 member. We have sometimes nominated 2 members, and we do have enough votes that we should be able to pass and nominate and cast votes for 2 different members if the board chooses to do so. I'll take any questions that you might have.
So the nominations will be made tonight.
Nominations tonight.
So if I want to nominate something, I can nominate 2 people.
That's correct. The board can nominate up to 5.
So we have 2 separate nominations, you can nominate 2, and then I can nominate 3.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, very good. I'm ready to nominate. Ready to nominate. Okay, go ahead, Brian.
At this point, I guess we'll take a list of nominations, and then I guess if it exceeds 5, we'll narrow that down for our resolution. Mr. Chapa?
Yeah, I'd like to nominate Brian Kufal, Daniel Morales, and Brandon Barrera to the Claver County Appraisal Board.
Morales?
Brian Goofball, Brandon Barrera, and Morales.
Any non-duplicate nominees that any board member would like to make? If not, do I have a motion that we adopt the board nominations of Brian Kupal, Daniel Morales, and Brandon Barrera as our board nominations for this 2024-2025 board of directors?
So move.
Motion made by Mr. Garcia,
I'll second.
seconded by Mr. Glusing. Any further discussion?
Brian, did we have three?
I'm not sure we've nominated three in the past. I will tell you that all three of these people currently sit on the board. And I will also tell you that two of us, myself and Brandon, are completing our first 2-year term. There's a huge learning curve, huge associated with the appraisal district. And Mr. Morales has been there for many years, and in my opinion, does a very good job as the president of that board. So at some point, we'll need to start filtering in some new blood into that board, but I don't think, because of some of the things that are going on, we've had a rough couple of years. And I think this board is on the right track to get some of the problems that we've had alleviated. And I know I appreciate the nomination, and I think I speak for the other two that they do also. And again, this just puts us on the ballot. It doesn't allocate any votes until it's. All right, any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposition? Motion carries 7-0. Item 7H, discussion and possible action regarding purchases over 50,000. This can be found on page 83 to 84 of our packet. Dr. Pitts.
Thank you, Mr. Kufal. You see the purchases over 50,000. The service center, that's about how much we spend each year for mainly professional development. There's also different co-ops that we belong to. For instance, if we belong to the state and federal programs co-op, we get discounts on training and many items for free. So it's also for the co-ops. And then also they have instructional materials. They have TEACS resources that we purchase from them as well. So this would be for the whole year, all the various different items that we purchase from the service center. You see Great South Texas Corporation, that's for server disaster recovery and backup and network technical support. And then the rest of those that you see are all instructional materials, instructional technology and print materials combined together. You see that for Waterford Renaissance, Accelerated Learning and Mentoring Minds. I'll take any questions that the board has.
I will say that we are analyzing two of those more closely, but if we're going to do the maximum amount, then we needed to make sure that we brought it to you. But we are looking at the contract a little closer for ESC and what they're providing for us. And for Renaissance Learning, especially after we had a really good presenter yesterday. And so we're just, those will probably come back different, but we're not going to spend any more than that. That's for sure. We have to at least bring it correct to you all to make sure you all are aware that anything that we're considering over 50,000 was going to be brought.
My question on any of these Waterford down, is there any data that we have that we can produce from results on any of that?
I'll defer to
You can go
Dr.
through.
Gussanis.
So yes, sir, and everything from Waterford down are the items that we are looking closely, as Dr. Pettis just mentioned. The first one is a Renaissance Learning, which is our AR. And we spoke about this particular product yesterday with our consultant that came from the University of Texas. We were really deep, diving very deep into reading and the effectiveness of AR and what is really research-based in helping our students not only learn reading, but have a love for reading. What we have done prior to this is we looked at the usage reports from all of the vendors that we were currently using before. And prior to this year, we did cut several of them. We spoke to the teachers. We sent a survey across the district to receive some feedback from our teachers. But the usage reports also highlighted that some campuses were using them sporadically in some grade levels and then also by teachers. So now we're correlating the usage reports and how well the students are doing academically with grades and how they're performing on our STAR results. So that's all the information that we are currently diving in a little bit deeper this year. And that's why Dr. Pettis mentioned that we're going to be presenting some changes in the upcoming board meetings.
So once we get into this, then we'll be able to, you'll be able to present,
Yes, sir.
data to us.
Accelerated Learning is the E2020 program. It's the online program that we primarily use it mainly at the high school and at the CARE program. So we're also looking at how the students are performing on that product because they still have to pass the ELC tests.
Yeah.
And are we giving them exactly what they need in order to be able to do that? And the last one is the iReady, the Mentoring Minds of the iReady product. So yes, sir, we'll be able to bring you that information. This morning, we did have a very quick overview of a new product that the technology team brought in. And it was phenomenal to see because we can see a student live, what they're on, and how many minutes that they were actually using the product, for example, at the CARE program or even at our high school. And so it really gives you the data live to see how well our students are performing on those particular products. We don't want to wait until they finish. We want to actually be monitoring it more closely.
You can just tap in.
Yes, sir. It was phenomenal. Yeah.
Dr. Bianca, question.
Yes, ma'am.
On the Waterford, do you have data to?
We do for special education.
I mean, is it being, do you have data to prove that it is working? Have they made grows and?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
You
Can
can
you
go
cite
up.
that for us?
Ms.
You're
Zimmerman,
welcome
if
to
you
come
want.
speak. Ms. Zimmerman, she does the Waterford special ed section.
Yes, ma'am. So we do have data. So again, we were using the usage data as well as their progress, both in the classes themselves for special needs students as well as individually. And so this also includes the professional development. So we have, instead of buying a program and just putting all of that stress on our teachers to figure out our students with the most needs, our representative even comes in and works individually with our teachers as well as with the students. Any difficulties or trying to figure out different things for our students, that rep is called and she comes immediately in and works specifically with those children and the teachers.
So do you have
So, yes, ma'am.
evidence that it is working? Do you have like
Yes, yes, we do.
percentages or?
They can
ma'am.
read that,
Definitely.
the CNI update, because we're gonna do once a month,
Okay.
that they can bring Waterford information.
Yes, ma'am. Definitely.
How many years have we been on Waterford? Does anybody know?
3 years?
This is.
This is,
This is the
yeah,
first
this will just be our second year. Yes.
Dr. Zimmerman, what grade levels is that? K through 12, or is it certain?
So for our special ed program, it technically can help our students from the preschool level up to the high school level as well. Only because their functional skills are at a lower level. So we do use that though for our kiddos throughout ECSE as well as the adapted ed program.
I know that on reading, a lot of it's on the computer, but are we utilizing also our libraries? I mean, they're kind of phasing out, or we're going to this, but is there actually reading time going on for our kids?
Yes, sir.
Whether special ed, regular ed,
Well, and I can say for the special ed side of it, even Waterford has the large group as well as a small group. It also gives ideas for different books and continued activities through that as well.
So thank you for bringing up that question, Mr. Fidelis. Our presenter yesterday also, when you mentioned about libraries, and so for the elementaries, she was really recommending that our teachers should have level books in the classroom.
Right.
so that as students finish, a center or finish an activity, they can go right there instead of having to wait till library time. So we do see, the phase of public school libraries maybe transitioning to other types of centers for students to go and maybe do some technological pieces there. But she definitely recommended, if we looked at the cost, that we consider doing level books in our classrooms
Yes.
and making them very more user friendly for students to have all the time.
But we're not getting rid of the libraries. I don't.
No, no, we're not getting rid of the library.
We're getting rid of the
Yes.
libraries. We're not doing that.
No, no. Yeah, and just because of the minutes and times and the way things.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, they are evolving, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yes, and that was my point, that they're gonna probably evolve into other more online resources. But we should still have the level books within reach of students daily.
Perfect, thank you.
Dr. Pitts, I'm sorry, could you go over the Education Service Center? 150,000 again, what all does that entail?
Yes, that entails mainly three things. One is the TEACS resource system, which is curriculum guides for all our teachers to make sure we are teaching the appropriate TEACS every year. It is professional development sessions that we send teachers and other staff to all during the year. And then it is the co-ops. There's different co-ops anywhere from safety to PEAMS to federal programs to different curriculum ones. And once you're members of the co-op, then you receive free training, whereas that training would cost more if we had purchased that training piecemeal.
But Dr. Pitts,
Yes,
if the consultants come to the district, they still charge you.
that's correct. But if, right, yes, but if you are part of the co-op, you get like a few, well, in the past, they've said that if you're part of the federal programs co-op, you get some freebies.
But not, paying. Like for them to come to the district.
That's correct.
Either a half day or full day.
That's
Because,
correct.
we do it and I think 150 is a lot.
And that's why that's the one that we're revisiting, because it depends on the year, how much service we're getting. From that, and so that's why we're looking at it very, very closely.
And so the 150, you're not writing the check to the co-op.
No, that's everything for the entire year. That's close to what we spent last year.
Gotcha.
Every department pays their part.
Right, exactly. Every department pays their part.
I had a question regarding the ESC and the South Texas
Okay.
Corporation. Don't they have a backup that we can use? Service center that technically.
A backup to the service center to provide training for us.
No,
The IT for disaster recovery.
Yeah.
Oh, the second.
Second.
Let me defer to Dr. Trevino for that one.
I'm currently ESC2. I think when I've worked with them in the past, they were mainly providing managed services such as email, but now we're using more Microsoft-based products that are housed with Microsoft. To my knowledge, they do not offer a backup. I last talked to some folks out there. They're looking into something, but right now their whole data center is downtown, right near the water. And so they're actually looking geographically somewhere else, maybe San Antonio, Austin, maybe Dallas. But as of right now, they do not offer a backup service, managed backup service.
And so when we pay, could you do the job of for the IT for paying so much to South Texas Corporation? Could you?
South Texas, that is an actual vendor. They provide
As far as technical support and
right, what that is actually, I'm working on downsizing that. I'm in the process of moving a lot of servers that it backs up to more cloud-based. I'm in the process of that, actually resizing that to where it starts shrinking. We're actually kind of we have a lot of data we have to back up. So I'm actually working with Comsol, which is also known as South Texas Computer Solutions. They are trying to help us shrink that, because I think we're maybe about 2 or 3 times larger than most school districts as far as data. But we might be backing up some old files that maybe no longer need to be retained. So right now I'm in the process of analyzing that And eventually, we can shrink that. Right now, it's backing up critical data. For example, the biggest one is our student information system. So that's currently being backed up, and it's that also not only backup. The event something happens to our data center, we can recover that data on our servers. That also protects us from malware. So sometimes the bad guys like to hide in backups. They'll sleep there for about 30 days, and they'll pop back up when you try to back them up, and you reinfect yourself. So that's an added feature there, and we can kind of I can look at daily reports to see if our backups are being done properly and if anything fails. But no, right now it's a matter of just analyzing our data center and to start shrinking that, and then that of course shrinks the cost we're paying to the.
So is it 78 like a set fee, or can we?
Well, I think
break it down with certain-
right, I think 57 of that is actually the backup disaster recovery service. The other is the service we paid for some of the replacement, actually any of the network projects we have during the year. If a switch goes out, we can replace that. Wireless goes out, we call they're certified guys that, probably make, hundreds of, 6 figures easy. We can't afford that. So that extra 20 or so is covering some minor, support throughout the year. Yes, we did about the same amount.
This is a server, right?
Right, this is it's a storage device that copies it locally and then copies it offsite, which is a data center somewhere in Microsoft's
No.
data center. So and in the event that something happens, we have a backup. Right? If we don't, we lose
It's a
everything.
disaster or something. We don't lose all the data and the mainframe and all that other techie terms that you all.
Right, but right now we'd be pretty bad shape. There's, God forbid the fire happens or we water damage or whatever, something burns the whole place down, the data center, we can actually recover. In particular, the biggest data asset that we have is our student information system. It's housed here at Central. I'm working on moving that away. That's part of the project I'm doing this year, is to move that away. We can start shrinking our footprint, and then that way we save money on disaster recovery and backups.
All right, any other questions regarding the over $50,000 purchases? If not, is there a motion to approve? So moved. Motion made by Mr. Ruiz, seconded by Ms. Salinas. There's no further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries 7-0. Item number 8, the board will enter into closed session in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551.071 and 551.074 to deliberate and consider the following. 8A, discussion with legal counsel regarding legal and personnel matters. No action will be taken until we return to open session. We are entering closed session at 6:19 p.m. necessary actions on matters which the board may discuss in open session upon which any action may be taken. We're returning to open session at 7:13 p.m. Item A was discussion and possible action regarding legal and personnel matters. I don't believe there are any. If there are, please speak now. If not, I will declare this meeting adjourned at 7:14 p.m.
Yay.
That is a record.